In this mini lesson, we're going to revisit rounding from 3rd grade. Specifically, we're going to be looking at SOL 3.1b, where you had to round whole numbers 9,999 or less to the nearest 10, 100, and 1,000. The strategy we are going to be creating and using today is a number line. So if you do not have any pencil or paper, please pause the video so you can go get paper and pencil so that you'll be able to create number lines. All right, before we get started, let's think about why we need to use rounding. We use rounding in real life when we make estimates. People estimate all the time when we are estimating prices, when we're estimating numbers of like populations, or we're thinking about how many people might have attended a sports event. So we use estimates when we don't need a precise or an exact number, but we want to know about how big a number is. All right, so we're going to be drawing a number line, and I'm going to model this one for you. So say we have the number 193, and we're having to round it to the nearest 10. The first thing I need to do is think about, what digit is in the tens place? And I know that my digit in the tens place is my 9. Next, I need to think about what is the value of that 9. I know the value of that 9 in this number is 190. 90 is the value of that 9. And I know that if I'm counting by tens, the next 10 I would say after 190 would be 200. So that's going to go at the end of my number line. The last thing I need to think about is what would be halfway between 190 and 200. It's helpful to think about what is half of 10. Half of 10 is 5, so halfway between 190 and 200 would be 195. So I'm going to place that in the center of my number line. Now I need to place my red dot, or you could place an X, and think about what would that be? Where would this fall on my number line? Where would 193 fall? Is it going to come before 195? Or after 195. I know that 193 would fall right here, and that red dot is closest to 190. So if somebody were to ask me, about how much money did you make mowing lawns? They might say, I made about $190 if you weren't looking for an exact number. All right. So I modeled that one for you. At any point, if you would like to press pause, because if you feel like you're ready to go ahead and draw out your number line, press pause, and then on the next page, I will model for you and you can check your work. All right, so say we have the number 2,186, and we're rounding that to the nearest 10. All right, I have to think about what digit is in my tens place and what the value of that digit is. All right, press pause if you need to draw out your number line, and then press pause again if you are ready to check your work. All right, I know that the 10 is 80. I have an 8 in my tens place, and the value of that 8 is 80, so I'm going to begin my number line with 2,180. When I'm counting by tens, the next 10 would be 90. In this number, 2,190. I know that half of 10 is 5, so halfway between these two numbers would be 2,185. Lastly, I'm going to place a little dot to represent where this number would fall on my number line. So it's helpful to think about, is this number 2,186? Is it less than 2,185? Or more than 2,185. And I know that it would fall about right here. So which 10, 2,180 or 2,190 is 2,186 closest to? I can see that it's a little bit closer to, this red dot is a little bit closer to 2,190. So that is what it would be rounded to the nearest 10. All right, boys and girls, in this situation, you're going to be rounding to the nearest 100. So you want to think about what digits in the hundreds place and what is the value. That will help you place the first number on your number line. All right, let's think of a situation where I might need to round. So say a neighbor is selling a car, and maybe the exact price that they're selling it for is $4,765. But maybe I just want to know about how much are you selling that car for? That would be, if I rounded to the nearest hundred, that would be an estimate, or one reason you might want to round this number to the nearest hundred. All right, to draw your number line and to have a go at this, press pause, and then when you're ready, press play to check your work. All right, so the digit in the hundreds place is my 7 here. And I know the value of that 7 is 700. In this number, it would be 4,700. When I'm counting by hundreds, I know that the next hundred after 700 would be 800. And when I think about what is half of 100, I know that half of 100 is 50, so my halfway point would be 4,750. All right, now I have to place my little red dot to represent where this number would fall on my number line. Is this number going to come before 4,750, my halfway point, or is it going to come after? So I know that this would be 4,760, 4,770, so it'd be about right here. So I can see that that red dot, when I'm looking at either end of my number line, is closest to 4,800. So if my neighbor were selling his car, he might say, oh, I'm selling it for about 4,800. That is a real life situation that you might use rounding for. All right, have a go at this one on your own. Here we're rounding 8,096 to the nearest hundred. Draw out your number line. Be sure to think about what digit is in the hundreds place, what is the value of that digit to help get you started, and then count by hundreds for your ending number. When you're ready, press play again so that you can check your work. All right, so I know that the 0 is in the hundreds place. The value of that 0 is 0, right? So 8,000 would be what I'd start with my number line, because that's my whole number here. All right, and I know if I'm counting by hundreds and I started with 0, the next 100 would be 100, right? So that would fall at the end of my number line, 8,100. I know that half of 100 is 50, so that will go in the center. And then I need to think about, 8,096. Is that going to be a number that comes before 8,050 or after 8,050? So, wow, that's just 4 away actually from 8,100. It is super close to that. So if I were rounding or estimating, that is the number that it would be closest to. Boys and girls, notice that I never use the word and when I am looking at whole numbers like this. If I don't have a decimal point, I'm not looking at money, I'm not going to be using the word and. All right, try this one out on your own. Round 4,022 to the nearest thousand. Pay attention to the thousands place and what the value of that digit in the thousands place is. That will help you get started on your number line. Press pause so that you have ample time to draw your number line, and then press play when you are ready to check your work. All right, so say if there was a professional football game and there were 4,022 people maybe there exactly, but you might say, you might not be interested in the exact number. You might say, about how many people were in attendance at that football game. This might be a reason why you would need to round this number to the nearest thousand. All right, so you need to think about, we're talking about thousands. What digit is in the thousands place? And that would be 4. What the value of that digit is, and that would be 4,000. And if I'm counting by thousands, my next thousand would be 5,000. And when I'm thinking about what my halfway point would be, I know that half of 1,000 is 500. All right, and then the last thing I need to think about is, where would 4,022 fall on this number line? Would it come before 4,500 or after 4,500? Now, I know that this would be, if I want to get really exact, this would be 4,100, 4,200, 300, 400. So I know it's going to be really close to that 4,000 there. So if I were to estimate how many people were at that game, I might say, about 4,000 people were in attendance at that game. All right, try this one out on your own. Round 8,632 to the nearest thousand. Press pause so that you can draw yourself a number line. All right, let's check our work. The digit in the thousands place is 8. So I'm going to begin my number line with 8,000. When I count by thousands, the next thousand would be 9,000. So that's going to end my number line. Half of 1,000 is 500. So halfway between these two numbers would be 8,500. And I know that 8,632 is greater than 8,500. So 8,600 would be here, 8,700 would be here. So I know it's going to fall about right there. Don't have to be super exact. You just really need to know, is it going to be greater or less than your halfway point? And I can see it's closer to 9,000. Wonder if you can think of an estimation situation where you would have to round a number to the nearest thousand like this. All right, round this number, this 3-digit number, to the nearest 10. Press pause to draw yourself a number line, and then press play again when you're ready to check your work. All right, I'm rounding to the nearest 10. I know that my 9 is in the tens place, and the value of that in this number would be 90, specifically 890. When I'm counting by tens, I would go up to the next 100, which would be 900. I know half of 10 is 5, and so halfway between would be 895. And I know that 893 would be 891, 892, 893. So what is it closest to? It is closest to 890. All right, round 7,238 to the nearest 100. Press pause to draw yourself a number line, and then press play when you're ready to check your work. All right, I know that the digit in my hundreds place is a 2. The value of the 2 is 200 in this number. The next 100, I would say, when counting by hundreds, would be 300. So 7,300 will end my number line. Half of 100 is 50, so 7,250 would fall halfway. And then I need to think about, is this number less than or greater than my midway point? And I know that 7,210 would be here, 7,220, 230, 240. So 7,238 would be about right there. So I can see that it's closest to 7,200. 7,200. There we go. All right, see if you can round this one on your own. Round 4,567 to the nearest thousand. Press pause to draw yourself a number line. Press play again when you're ready to check your work. All right, if someone were selling a car, for example, and if it was 4,567 exactly, and I wanted to know about how much it would cost, I might round it to the nearest thousand. So the digit in my thousands place is a 4. The value is 4,000. So that's what I'm going to start my number line with. The next thousand, if I'm counting by thousands, would be 5,000. Half of 1,000 is 500. And the number 4,567 is greater than 4,500. So this would be 4,600, 700, 800, 900. And I know that, okay, 600 is here, so it would be about right there. And it's greater. So it's going to be a little bit closer to that 5,000. So if I had a friend that was selling a car for that exact amount of 4,567, they might estimate or give me the number that would be closest to it. They might say, oh, it's about $5,000. All right, let's see if you can round this one on your own. Round 5,688 to the nearest hundred. Press pause to draw yourself a number line. Press play to check your work. All right, so the digit in my hundreds place is a 6. The value in this number is 600, 5,600. The next 100 after 600 would be 700, 5,700. The halfway point is 5,650. And 5,688, let me see, 5,660, 670, 680, 690, not quite that far, right here. 688, 5,688 would fall there. So it is closest to, get that sign out of the way, it's closest to 5,700. All right, let's summarize what we've done so far. We identified estimation situations where rounding would be needed when we were thinking about estimating the prices of cars or the amount of people that might be at a sporting event. We looked at how we could create a number line and then use it to round whole numbers to the nearest 10, 100, and thousands place. I am hopeful that you were successful with that practice. If you need more practice, you will get it in the practice sessions where you will be sorting numbers and rounding them to the nearest 10, 100, and 1,000. And if you need a little bit more of a challenge, please check out the Level Up challenges. Have a great day.